I think, because, when J. Edgar Hoover ran the FBI and was abusing surveillance for political purposes, at least he had to target particular people. He's going to decide that Martin Luther King is going to be spied on, and then they're going to try and drive him to suicide. Now, this stuff is sitting in a database for 30 years. If they happened to sweep you up and then in 10 years you're running for Congress, someone can, after the fact, decide you're worth scrutinizing.
It's even conceivable that behavior that's legal today could change in the future, and there'll be some record of it, and that could be embarrassing on the one hand, but it even might be that after the fact it's illegal.
Or even not. I mean, we all do things that are embarrassing because we're human.
Yeah.
And, if everything is swept up, then
the likelihood of it being uncovered by somebody
and if you can
greater.
Selectively edit it. I mean, we see this now in political campaigns.
That's true.
Now we're living in a world where pretty much every candidate is followed 24/7 by the opposing party with a camera, because they're going to say something that's embarrassing.
Sooner or later,
and you got 10 seconds, and it's a beautiful, embarrassing quote, and you run with it.
They run like crazy.
We know one of the things the intelligence agencies like to do with the fruits of surveillance information is use it to coerce people into becoming informants. The FBI now has 15,000 informants, like 10 times more than Hoover ever had at the peak of COINTELPRO, the kind of vast spying and infiltration network, looking at civil rights and anti-war groups. And one way to do that is to say, hey, we found out that you're having an affair. Why don't you spy on your mosque for us? There was a case here in Chicago, and a guy named Ibrahim Mashal, I think. They said, look, we know that you had communications with a cleric in the Middle East. They were innocuous, but that's enough of a pretext to get someone put on the no-fly list. If your business requires you to travel, that's a huge obstacle. And they said, well, we can get you off the no-fly list if you're willing to cooperate, if you're willing to tell us what people are saying at your mosque. And he's actually currently now suing the Justice Department over this.
So the information is gathered up in this kind of broad sweep, sometimes without a warrant. And in any case, warrants are targeted at an individual. Here we're taking information wholesale, as you put it, hoovering it up, and then it's analyzed later. And then if something embarrassing, awkward emerges, now they've got leverage on somebody. It might not even be illegal activity, as you point out, but it's leverage to coerce them into cooperating with the government and doing the government's bidding. And this is our government. Now, I'm assuming that this is happening all around the world, and probably in countries that don't have the same due process and constitutional rights and privileges that we have in this country.
And I mean, it's certainly true, and we know that U.S. technology is being exported to totalitarian regimes for varied purposes. Government of Syria, government of Egypt, government of Iran. We know those technologies are being used to identify people who are blogging, who are tweeting, anti-government.
That's right. After the Arab Spring, it's almost a certain bet that every authoritarian government now has a system in place to track